Okay, so I'm going to read a couple of questions, okay? And then we're going to try to talk about all of them together. So the first thing is, can we talk about fear? How does it work? I noticed fear might be related to the subject. Absolutely. Next question is, I've dealt with a feeling of apathy towards new things, and I want to do or try, and when I do start something, I quickly lose interest. How do I combat this? How do I tell if I'm truly unhappy or just bored or used to the way things being the way they are? And then this is kind of the last question I'll kind of lump together. How do you get past coming up short with everything in your life? I'm 26, dropped out of college at a good university with 1 semester left. Decided to start a successful business and am now debating on selling my shares to my friend and business partner with nothing lined up after 1 year. It's the slow season. I haven't left my house in 2 weeks. Video games, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So how do you get past coming up short in life? How do you deal with fear? How do you function if you've developed apathy towards something? How do you tell if you're unhappy or just bored or used to the way things are? So these are all great questions, and there's just like a common theme here, and I'm going to have to think about how to piece this stuff together. Okay. So what gets us to do stuff in life? Like, that's the common question, right? You have this like idea of something that you want to do, and like, how do you actually do that thing? Like, you say that, okay, like I'm enjoyment doesn't move me forward. I've gotten used to things. I become apathetic about stuff. I don't want to move forward because I'm afraid. I don't want to move forward because I regret. And the answer is like, yes. Yes, all of that is true. So the first thing to understand is that moving forward in life is like going to be an individual exploration. Right? That like you guys can come on stream and like I can try to answer these questions, and I do answer these questions. But that at the end of the day, like you're going to have to do actual reflection to figure out what is getting in your way. So generally speaking, so I'm going to just address one part of this, right? Because there are a couple of questions about, feeling apathy towards new stuff, getting bored or getting used to things. So I want you guys to understand that one of the things that motivates human beings is the satisfaction of desires. Okay, so like if I want to eat, like let's say I'm hungry and I want to eat a hamburger. I have a desire. I eat the hamburger, and then the desire for the hamburger is satisfied. And once the desire for the hamburger is satisfied, there's nothing motivating me to like continue eating. Like sort of makes like, it sounds kind of simple and duh, but like just think about that for a second. So anytime you're motivated by the satisfaction of a particular desire, that motivation is not going to last. You'll end up in apathy. You'll end up being bored. You'll end up being used to things. If you're looking for like the satisfaction of a particular desire, then you're going to end up being bored or apathetic, and it's not a sustainable way to build your life. But the interesting thing is that's how we do structure our lives, right? We tend to think that like the way for me to move forward is by like satisfying my desires, by striving for things, whether it be a hamburger or graduating from college or like to get something external. So there's another kind of motivation which doesn't come from the external world. So desires come from the external world. The roots of desires are actually the indriyas or the sense organs. And we can debate about this if you guys want to. But if you think about basically anything in there, I've talked about this before on streams, but if your source of motivation is the external world, once the external world is satisfied or unsatisfied, your motivation is going to go away because it's dependent on something external. So fundamentally, you don't get the option to control like what you're doing because your motivation comes from the outside. So the key here is to understand that like motivation can come from the inside as well, not just from the satisfaction of a desire by an external thing. And there are even a lot of things that we think are going to be like, that we think of as internal. Like, let's say I'm attracted to someone and I like want them to be in in my life in some substantial way. Like I want them to be my girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. And so I'm drawn to that external thing. And then let's say that I ask them out and they say yes and we enter a relationship and it's like going great for a while. And then like sometimes you get bored of it, right? Like you become apathetic. And that's because the thing that is going to sustain a relationship is not the original desire for the relationship. It's like if I think someone is hot and I want to get with them, like once I get with them, then I'm going to get bored because it's the satisfaction of an external desire. The things that sustain relationships are different, right? It's sort of like this sense of like, it's not a specific external thing. So I think the best thing about being in a committed relationship is that you've got someone in your corner. And that's not like an external thing. You don't like look at someone on the street and you say like, oh man, like I want that person to be in my corner. Like that's not how a desire works. That's not really a desire. You can say, I want to sleep with that person. I want to make out with that person. I want to walk into my office Christmas party with that person on my arm. Those are all desires. But if you want to create sustained enjoyment or motivation in life, it has to come from within. And I don't mean that in like a yoga hippie kind of like Oprah sort of way. Like you have to find the answer within. I mean, like literally there are things that pull you forward in life. And some of those things are external and some of those things are internal. Because when it comes to creating something meaningful in life, it requires sacrifice. And the problem is that most desires are not enough to garner sacrifice. If we think about Derek and other people on stream, like the reason that they grow is because they go within and they do the hard thing. They talk about the hard thing. They deal with the hard feelings. And if you guys were watching today, like you'd see Derek do it. Like go back and watch the VOD and you'll see there are lots of moments where he's at the fork in the road and I tell him, hey man, we can go there or we cannot go there. And he chooses to go there. So he chooses to dive inward. And so if you're getting bored in life, if you're feeling apathetic, chances are it's because you're living a life of satisfaction of desires. And once you satisfy a desire, it goes away for a while and then it returns again. It doesn't leave you satisfied forever. And so if you want to find a way to like move forward in a sustainable way, to find like real motivation that causes you to sacrifice things and give up things and make the hard choice to close out of the video game when it's time to go to bed, you have to have a good fucking reason. It's not a desire. It's like an internal driver. So in my case, like, I'm lazy. Like I keep on saying this on stream. I don't think people like believe me, but I'm lazy. Like I'm really lazy. But I get out of bed every morning. I get out of bed every morning at the latest possible minute. Like I should wake up an hour earlier and work out, but I'm fucking lazy. So why do I get out of bed? It's because I have an appointment and someone's going to show up at my office and I care about that person. And like, because I care about that person and like I'm genuinely invested in them, I have to get my ass out of bed. I don't care about myself. So I don't wake up and like work out and stuff because those are the things that I kind of want for myself. But I actually do care about that person. Right? So that can motivate you. So what I want you guys to understand is like start by thinking a little bit about, what are the things that okay. Let me know when you're ready. Okay. So start by understanding like what about you is being motivated by something external and what about you is being motivated by something internal. And chances are, for those of you who are apathetic and bored, your motivation isn't internal. It's coming from the external world.